So, Rosemary, you've previously argued that when US policy contributes to what we are seeing right now, which is this global supply disruption, Washington is responsible for the global oil volatility that we're seeing. Just how responsible is it?
Well, the Strait of Hormuz was open and functioning normally before Trump attacked Iran. And that is what led to this closure, that has led to this disruption of 20% of global oil supplies that normally go through the strait every day. Hormuz was essentially all but closed. Small amounts of traffic were going through if companies or countries paid tolls to Iran. Iranian shipments were also going through at relatively low levels, but some oil was still getting out. But now the United States, under Trump, has blockaded the blockade. So they've blockaded Iran's ports and prevented Iran from exporting its oil, which then, led to Iran closing Hormuz again. And then this also like outlet valve that we used to have with Iranian exports is now closed thanks to the U.S. military. So the U.S. is fully responsible for this disruption, and we just don't know how long Trump is going to keep it in place.
And it's not just the oil prices that are spiking that we're seeing. Also, insurance premiums are certainly jumping sharply in response to this maritime risk. At what point does this become a strategic success for Iran? Does it have the leverage right now?
Oh, it's already a success for Iran, 100%. I mean, Iran has leverage for two main reasons. One, they have shown that all they have to do is threaten to attack shipping or attack a small number of ships in Hormuz, and the whole thing shuts down. Ships won't go through, and that gives Iran huge leverage over oil prices, which is extremely important to the rest of the world, including President Trump, especially in a midterm election year. So that's one source of leverage. The other source is that Iran can just continue to resist indefinitely. The US theory of victory was proved inaccurate after a couple of days, right? The US thought that if it targeted Iran's leadership, killed the supreme leader, Iran would capitulate and the whole thing would be over before markets opened on Monday. That didn't happen. And now Iran has shown it can just continue to resist the United States indefinitely using very cheap guerrilla tactics like drones and attack boats and sort of submarine launch drones and other sorts of things to keep oil tankers from transiting the strait. So Iran has the leverage here, not the United States.
And so our market's now permanently pricing in this Hormuz risk premium. And if so, should we reset, what we consider a baseline oil price, a normal baseline oil price?
I think we are looking at a new normal now, and I don't actually think markets have priced in the shock fully. Physical, sort of immediate physical delivery, those prices are way up, somewhere around $145 a barrel. But futures prices, which are often cited in the press and the media, are still relatively low compared to the scale of the disruption, right? They're higher than they were before, but it's signaling that traders believe that this crisis is going to end soon and everything will go back to normal. And that just is not likely because there will always be now going forward a higher risk premium in the strait because Iran has demonstrated it has this leverage. So I think we're not going back to the pre-war February 27th status quo, possibly ever. And the only question now is what's the new equilibrium price once the current conflict is actually settled, which so far it is not.
And of course, right now we are racing towards the end of this ceasefire, which is tomorrow evening. The Strait of Hormuz is virtually at a standstill yet again. And Iran saying we might not even come to the talks. So what do you think the next steps are? What should the US do to at least get Iran to the table?
Well, the US should focus on extending the ceasefire and then should take some mutual steps for confidence building, right? So Iran doesn't trust the United States. Several times now that the US has negotiated with Iran, immediately after those negotiations, the US escalated, right? We started a war with Iran, or after the most recent one, we put this blockade on Iran. And so Iran doesn't trust us, and that gives them a huge disincentive to negotiate with us. So we need to have some sort of mutual steps, right? And the obvious one is we continue the ceasefire, Iran drops the blockade of Hormuz, and we drop the blockade of Iran. And then if we can do that, then maybe we can get a deal or we can have talks about a more substantive deal that settles the issues that led to the war in the first place. But really, the only thing the president can do that's going to end this is to step back from it. There's no victory here. As much as he wants to declare victory, he can try to spin it however he wants, but he's not going to get more concessions out of Iran as a result of this war.
Rosemary Kelanic, great to get your expert analysis. Much appreciated.